So what are the chances of winning a personal injury lawsuit?
Yeah. So people, and we evaluate this at intake. So at intake, did the officer cite you at fault? And hopefully he did not. So that's a good sign for us. Although the accident report is not, the end all for everything. Even if you're cited at fault, sometimes we'll still take those cases. But essentially in South Carolina, we have to prove that you were not more than 50% at fault. So if you're 51% at fault as determined by a jury, you get 0. But you can be up to 49% at fault and still get a recovery in South Carolina. Your recovery will just be reduced. So we have to evaluate liability to determine what your chances are of winning. So the first thing we do is figure out, is there insurance to cover it? And, what was the mechanism of injury? What law did they break? What rule of the road did the other driver break? When the accident happened, did they run a stop sign? Did they fail to yield? Or, what did they do? Did they not hit their brakes and rear end somebody? Were they speeding? Were they drinking and driving? Is there punitive exposure? I mean, there's all kinds of factors that we look at. Now, if in that instance, if you're not at fault, you're rear-ended and it's a drunk driver, your chances are, while we can never ethically make you a guarantee, you have very high chances of getting a recovery. But again, we assume the risk when we take these cases on. We work them up, and if it's a case, sometimes we get a case and we start looking at it, and I think it's good, and then I'll get an investigator, I'll get an expert involved, and they just say, look, you're not going to win this on liability. We might have to withdraw from a case, but that's very, very rare. Then we have to look at how big are the damages. Mm-hmm. If we got big damages, it's worth even filing and trying to go through court. And if we can survive summary judgment, usually we can get some kind of recovery there, short of trial. But again, that's different on a case by case basis. What are your chances? That's a question I could ask a million different ways and give you a million different answers. But when life gets